So the last time we were here, we talked about how to stop overthinking, and you mentioned that you wanted to write it as a book that you needed. You wanted to put that sort of information together as a book that you would have wanted to read, going through the victim mentality and stuff like that. So in terms of what's in Supercharged, what was sort of the main message that you wanted to get across, but also what was your favorite part of the book that you wrote? Like, what was your favorite part of the book, and what was the main message that you wanted to get across with it?
Okay, cool. I think I like the stories in the book in terms of a favorite part to write. I think it's quite, when you get, everyone relates to a story, and when you get into that and you have the relevant message at the end of it, that massively helps. Like the story of going down Newcastle and getting bullied by those guys, that still brings back the memories as I was writing it, but in a good way, like kind of, I'm glad I went through that sort of thing. In terms of what I wanted to get across with the book, obviously, the subtitle was The Modern Day Guide to Creating Outstanding Levels of Energy, Motivation and Self-Control. So that's what I wanted to portray, is how to do that. How to do that. But not just how to. A lot of strategy, what to do, but also a reminder of why. Because when we know what to do and why we're really doing it, the how-to becomes easy. And I hear this all the time. How do I get rid of this belly? How do I stay in great shape? How do I overcome this anxiety? How do I get out of this fearful state? How do I increase my confidence? Like, the how becomes much easier when you know what to do, the strategy, and you have a strong enough why, you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what works. So that's what I wanted to put in there, was the strategy, and remind people, ask the right questions, put the right coaching into why it's important to them. And a lot of the time that does involve other people, like family, friends, kids. Maybe it involves to prove somebody wrong. I don't know, but enough fuel, if you will, to get started and keep going. And then as a result, you'll find out how to do things like that, like increase your energy and motivation, but more so you'll discover what they need to do and why it's important. Then they'll kind of figure out their own how along the way by taking elements of the book and making it their own.
So so obviously on the front of the book you've got energy, right? Your whole thing, supercharged, energy, things like that. Like, a lot of people that obviously me and Carl have worked with and talked to in the past very rarely mention energy first. So obviously you put energy first. So why specifically, what do you feel like energy is giving you? Like, why is your focus energy? Why is that in the front of the book? Like, why energy?
So energy is the precursor to life, isn't it? Without energy, you're just existing, you're not living, right? And everything is worse without energy. Your emotions are worse, your food choices are worse, your feelings are worse, your life is just lower when you're lower in energy. And that's most people's problem, is they're not lacking motivation, they're lacking energy. And what people don't realize is that we can do certain simple things to protect our energy, but we don't protect our energy. We protect everybody else's, and we just drain our own.
When you say protect your energy, what do you mean exactly?
So have a prime importance on making sure that your energy levels are at the highest they can be at every given opportunity. So that means looking after yourself. And it's only going to happen via self-care. You can't go out on a weekend and smash 10 pints and have a really shit diet during the week, not exercise, have a sedentary lifestyle and expect higher levels of energy. You just can't do it. You have to have the exercise in place, whether that be structured or not. Could be just activity, walking, swimming, climbing, could be weights, could be body weight stuff, boot camp, running, whatever as person, but you need to move to create energy. So, but energy is at the forefront of our life, right? And the higher our energy, the more motivated we are. The higher our energy, the better our food choices, which means better health. The higher our energy, the more of a positive influence we're going to be on other people. If we're low, what do we do? Argue, bicker, need to be right. The ego is fragile. We will snappy, yes, we'll snap at the kids, we'll shout at people, we'll need to be right, we'll get triggered on social media by things that wouldn't trigger us if we're feeling good. We might look at somebody else's life and be like, fucking dick. It's all right for him, it's all right for them.
I believe you call it comparisonitis.
Yes, well, comparisonitis. But here's the thing, like, if you can increase, and I like to use the word supercharge, hence Supercharged Tribe, which is actually, again, the name of the business has changed since the first book. It was Total Fitness Tribe in the first book. So we moved towards energy, because fitness is great, and fitness is like the foundation of life, and everybody should prioritize fitness. But that sometimes just comes with, oh, well, I'm not fit, so it'll stop people looking for that side of things. Whereas if you say, would you like supercharged levels of energy, that can be a lot more appealing to someone than saying, do you want to get fit? Because straight away that puts up barriers. Oh my God, I'm fat and out of shape and I've got this problem and I can't be seen in a group of people and I'll never be able to do it.
Gap between where they are there and where like they see fit.
And again, a lot of people don't see fitness as necessarily a massively important thing, but energy, holy shit, that is an important thing. But obviously the fitter you are, the more energized usually you become, unless you're overdoing it. So energy was basically the understandings of that life is just fucking easier when you've got energy. It's just fucking easier.
So you mentioned kind of lockdown and having that creative spark and a bit of inspiration during that time period, but what may some of the other things be as well as that, or alongside that, that maybe inspired the writing of the book, and why did it feel like the right time now to go forward with that?
Cool. So obviously lockdown provided a lot of time for people. Like, thankfully we were in the position where we kept going, we just went online with everything, which we were very fortunate to be able to do. So our life didn't really slow down as much, it's just we were quite restricted with what we were able to do. So I've always had a thought that I've had another book in us, and because I'm learning and growing every week with study and things like that, and I'm around people who are providing me with lessons and mentorships and things like that, I'm always getting new knowledge. I'm always kind of trying new things as well, and also I'm coaching people to a high level from different backgrounds all the time. So I'm learning from that coaching, I'm learning from their worries and their mistakes and how they're getting help, etc. So the thing is with a book, there's a few reasons why. Your first book's never going to be your best book. It's like your first performance is never going to be your best. It's like the more you write, the better you get. And along the way, you'll have a hit. You'll have like a cool one, but the first song's never the best song that someone's written. It's usually the shittest, isn't it? Or one of the worst. So the more you do it, the better you get. I think the catalyst was that I know I've got a lot inside me to give. And I think if you go in this life with a mindset of what can I give, not what can I get, that changes everything. Yes, you want to get something, everybody does, otherwise we wouldn't do what we do. We're always seeing a gain in some way, even if it's self-sabotaging behavior, we're seeing a gain, like in what we do, even if it's victimhood or we're getting sympathy or anything. But for me, I've got a lot to give, and I like writing anyway, so it's something that I'm fairly good at. That, you know, I wouldn't say I was world class at writing books because I've wrote 2 books, but there's a few things. There's a little bit ego involved for sure. To say I'm a 2-time author, not many people can say that. That's a really cool thing to say. But as well, I'm writing books that help people. You know, I've got a lot to give to help people. I think the catalyst for writing another one was it's more authority as well for myself, for the business. It automatically has a perception that I'm more highly regarded in the field of personal development, fitness, health, etc. When you're an author, you know what you're talking about. It's not to say you're the biggest expert in the world, but if you've wrote 2 books on physical and mental health, you're pretty clued up on it, so that gives an opportunity to help more people as well. So like it's just a growth thing. You can grow in any way. You can grow in a way just by turning on your camera and doing a quick live, or sending out a little newsletter to somebody, or, you know, reading a book you wouldn't usually read. Everyone has their way, but again, we're either growing or dying. And to write a book is a challenge. It's a real challenge. It's like, it takes dedication. It takes asking for help. How to get a book coach. It takes vulnerability to put it out there and get scrutiny and say, you know, have people disagree with you as well, to put that out. The ego doesn't like that as well, because you want to be right. And you want people to just love you and love all your stuff and shower you with hearts and that. But that's just not the way it works. Like, you know, I was always told that a third of people will love what you do. A third of people will hate what you do. And a third of people couldn't give a shit either way. And it's a nice way to look at it. Like, but the problem is we always pay attention to the third that hate us. You know, or we'll get 100 people say that's great, and one person say that's shit, and we'll focus on that one person. Yeah, all the time. But if we look at it as in a third will really love it, a third won't, and a third couldn't give a shit, then it's kind of like, oh, well, that's quite a bit of balance right there. So if you look at it that way, just say, okay, let's try and focus on the third that really love it, and just make them love it more. What more can I give, yeah? So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. So obviously we've talked a lot about what's in the book, like why you wrote the book, but I want to know in terms of like your own personal take on actually writing the book, in terms of what, because obviously people just think, oh, you know, you write a book. You either write a book or you don't write a book. They don't see the process behind it. Obviously, I saw the process of you writing this book. Was there any part that you just looked at and went, fuck, like this is like a lot to do. This is a bit that I don't like to do. Like, what was the most ball ache part of writing a book? Obviously, you're happy with the finished product, but what was the most like ball ache part where you were like almost on the verge of like, is this book going to be worth like writing? Was there any part that was just like, ah?
Yes. The writing of the book was not the issue. It was the editing of the book.
Right.
The book got written in 8 weeks, full, from start to finish, and I did like probably 30 minutes to an hour a day. Most days for 8 weeks, got it done. I had a structured plan from my book coach and stuff. And that was all right, but then it was the back and forth of change this, change that, that doesn't make sense, change that. It was consistent, relentless changing. So it took 8 weeks to write the book and a year to get it published and out there, a year to get finished. And the audio was only just been finished. So it's like a year and a bit to get both of that done. In terms of specific section that was particularly annoying to write, I don't think there was a particular section that was. Out of all the chapters, I would say that there's short ones, long ones. There was, I think it's chapter 3, which is particularly the longest. It's quite a few pages. I wouldn't have said it was particularly a ball ache to write. It was just a ball ache to edit. Right. Just the whole thing of going back, change this doesn't make sense, change this word, what do you mean here? Like that, the whole, because they take the book as a whole, and then they'll do this edit, and there'll be like 400, 500 different things you need to change, and then you'll go back and say, right, this isn't good enough, and then back and forward, edit. And I think that's the ball ache, is when you write it, and you think it's great, and then you've got to go back 15, 20, 30 times, and then it's still not good enough till you go again and again and again. What did you mean here? And what did you mean here? And then you go back and you do it, and it's just like, oh, that's the exhausting part for me. Writing is not an issue because I write all the time. And that's the thing with anybody. Anybody that does something all the time will not find it that hard to do. But the back and forward, the nitpicking, the improving, that's the hardest bit to do. So not the actual writing, but the editing part, I would say that was the most frustrating.
Fair enough. And I'd also like you to expand on, just for the sake of the video, my favorite part of the book. My biggest takeaway was, why can I not eat more than one banana? Why do I struggle to eat more than one banana? Can you expand on that point? Because that was one of my... He's just like, what the fuck?
I can. You can. Well, you can eat more than one banana if it's a small banana.
Why don't I want to eat
You don't want to, that's the thing. You don't want to.
That's the problem, because I eat like 3 a day.
But not in one go.
Not in one go.
Yeah, that's the thing. The in one go thing is the important thing, right? You try and eat 3 bananas in one go, you probably physically couldn't do it. Because once you've eaten...
I'm tempted to try it now.
Yeah, believe me. Well, we can film that and put it on at the end of the video. So... when you eat a banana, right, like, and it happens with other fruit as well. Sometimes you might have an orange and an apple, or a banana and an apple, but usually when you eat a banana, it's got enough fiber, enough nutrients, vitamins and minerals, carbs, etc., enough to satisfy you, to say, I've had some nutritious food. Like, you always eat a banana, and you kind of feel you've eaten something good, don't you? It's a single ingredient food. It comes from a tree. It's highly nutritious, highly fibrous, and you wouldn't usually eat more than one in a go, right? And it's good for you, and you know this. But when you eat a packet of Maltesers, you could then go on to a packet of Minstrels. You could then go on to a packet of crisps. You could then go on to finish off your Domino's pizza, or in a roundabout way, right? And then you could drink 2 cans of pop. And then you could just graze on sweets or chocolate after that, couldn't you? But you'd never be able to do that with a banana. You wouldn't eat banana, then graze on banana, would you? You're done. You're satisfied, right? So you'd never be able to do it. So that was a reminder that the body, and it's in the book this in detail, craves nutrition, not food. So we say, I'm starving. You're not starving. You're fucking hungry, mate. Like, your children in Ethiopia are fucking starving. You're hungry. So what we do is we crave food, lots of it, and actually a lot of the time when we're hungry, starving, we're just craving nutrition a lot of the time. And the more that we fill our body with nutrition, the more that we'll understand we don't need the quantities of food that we consume. And obviously we're going through an obesity epidemic, a health crisis. More people now are fat and overweight than ever before. And obviously a lot of the time, well, obviously it's a calorie issue, but the calorie thing comes from usually overconsumption of foods that are not highly nutritious. So if they start to eat better foods, like bananas, healthy foods, single foods, then they will understand they don't need as much food as much calories, therefore they won't gain as much weight and they will be healthy as a result. Does that answer your question?
That answers my banana question.
Banana.
Well, pretty much the last question I could really ask, really. And so my last question, Luke, is what is next for you in terms of moving forward with, are you planning on writing any more books? Is there any more projects that you have in the works? Is there anything that is next for you? Because obviously when you finish a project, the next thing is, what's next? Like, what's going to be my next thing? Are you planning to write a book? Or are you wanting to go something bigger? Are you going to go on TV? Are we going to get a Supercharged TV show? Like, what's the plan going forward?
Well, as you know, there is a mental wealth video series on YouTube and Facebook, which is ongoing, that you are definitely playing a big part in, which is great. Next book, there will definitely be a third book, but not for a few years yet. I need to let that one settle. The biggest next thing is the audio. The audio going out to people, because as we know, that's nearly released by the time this video comes out. It might be out there. It's finished, it's finalized. We just need to get it tidied up, trimmed and uploaded for people to get. So that'll be used as a download from superchargedaudio.com. Little plug there.
How much is that?
Well, it's free for a limited period. While you're watching this video, it might be free. Unless you're watching this video months later, then there might be a little charge in it. But it'll not be much. It'll not be much. But the audio books are a way forward, I think, for a lot of people. So a lot of people just don't read. They haven't got time. They're not readers, and they've digested in the car through audio or on walks and stuff, which is great. And again, it's my voice doing the audio. So the audio is the next big project to get off the ground. In terms of it's done, but actually put it out there, because that's where the message is going to hit more voices, more ears. Sorry. Next is get this gym a little bit to a higher standard, spruced up a little bit. Yeah, that's the next big project. And grow our online TST coaching at the minute, which is going very well via Zoom. On the morning, we coach people from all over the country at 6:10 in the morning till 7 to get in a supercharged fitness routine, an energy routine. From home, which is going very well. We're looking to grow that audience, which happens from here live with the people in the room as well, a bit of a hybrid training. That's the next big project. There's going to be some speaking gigs coming up, speaking opportunities. There's a lot in the pipeline, but the content will show that.
So it hasn't stopped with this book then?
This is just the start. This is just the start, yeah. You've always got to think, what's next? Now I've done that, because you're only as good as the next thing you do. Really, you're only as good as that. So it's, you know, a lot of people, when they hear no, they give up, whatever that be. But the answer to no is next. No, next. No, next. No, next. What's next? Who's next? What's next? Who's next? Next. Yeah. So a lot in the pipeline, lots coming up, but it's exciting times.
Fantastic. So just repeat again, where can people buy this book? Where can people find the audio?
People can buy the physical copy of the book from superchargedbook.com or Amazon. And the audio can be found at superchargedaudio.com. Very simple.
Fantastic. Luke, fantastic. Can't wait to be here in another 6 years when we do your third book. Carl will probably be bald by then as well. All right, you're going to go down that road. But yes, thank you very much for watching, folks. Obviously, subscribe to the channel that you're watching on. If you're watching this on something like Facebook or Instagram, give it a like, give all three of us a lovely follow, and we will all see you in the next videos. Goodbye.